the most hype match of the lower bracket. I say that ironically, but I think it's technically true. Given, not from a narrative perspective, because, Golden Guardians and Cloud9 with maybe like the top lane is pretty interesting. But other than that, but IMT versus Dig. Now, this game is gonna be a banger because it's gonna be a fiesta. It's gonna be really good. So I would actually say for fans or for analysts or for anybody really, more so analysts and pundits and whatnot, to just go into this game, grab your popcorn. Don't even like go on the keyboard and start typing notes and shit or whatever. Like just watch it for the raw experience. Just be visually stimulated by it. Like those fucking stupid action movies or whatever. You just kind of go there to just be visually stimulated. You don't go there for any depth of a storyline or any extravagant, puzzles or whatnot that you need to solve in terms of the plot. It's just something aesthetically pleasing, which is what Immortals versus Dignitas is going to be. Because let's look at this entire scenario of how it's going to go. First, Dignitas, they have 0 firepower, and I think they showed that clearly against their best of 5 of Evil Geniuses. Their solo laners were completely outclassed. Their bot lane really isn't anything to write home about either, so their bot lane is not good as well too, unless maybe they get the ideal matchup or whatnot. But other than that, you can't really bank on them. And so that also means that Acadian can't really play like how he wants to play, which is he is like this pseudo-aggressive jungler whenever it actually benefits him, or rather, he can see himself pulling off these aggressive plays. But you have to instill that type of confidence within him through your solo lane play. And if you have weak solo laners, then it's going to be very difficult to do that. And I don't think that's a knock on these Dignitas players. Like, they are clearly in a shitty situation when it comes to the entire Dignitas roster and all the sub swapping that happened before. And it's just a bad thing all around. But with that said, Dignitas did look very weak against Evil Geniuses. And Evil Geniuses also entered a game away too. But that should be noted too, that Afromoon was actually playing very well, which I'll get to a little bit later. But to go on to the point of jungling, I think Xerxes is just way better. Just overall, he's far more innovative when it comes to just his ability to actually have good pathing. And by good pathing, I don't mean like he technically goes at the correct spot at the correct time or whatnot, but it seems like he has a variation of an idea of actually how he wants to path in terms of, just how he plays the jungle in general, to where he can actually get advantages through his pathing itself rather than through his solo laners. Now, that also too can be dependent upon if his solo laners also pop off on the rare occasion that they do, which they don't most often. And that's what I think makes it that much more impressive of Xerxes himself, is that he's able to create his own advantages even though his solo laners don't have advantages in the current meta, to where that is usually a necessity in order to jungle well. And well, that's been kind of the tried and true thing in League of Legends anyways throughout all time in professional play, was that you get to play the jungle way more aggressive, or you get to kind of do what you want if your solo laners are actually performing well, because then you can invade and then you have backup, etc. Right? But with that said, I think Xerxes still has the advantage in this entire thing, and on top of that, with better solo laners, he certainly does as well too. On top of that, I think we can just go to the bot lane, because I think I would actually put this more into Dignitas' favor, in the fact that Afromoon actually looks pretty good. Now, sure, this was because obviously that Rakan game where he was initiating all the fights and stuff, and he was looking really great on that pick. And we know that that's one of his better picks is Initiation, which, that's no fucking surprise because he was heralded as a shot caller beforehand in CLG. But I think actually IMT's bot lane looks significantly weaker than Dignitas's bot lane, which is, I think, one of the modes in which Dignitas can actually win this series. As many are probably assuming, is that Immortals is going to win this series, although there can be throws and whatnot and shit can get a little bit wacky, which is why this series is going to be pretty fun. But if Dignitas are going to win, I think it's going to be through the bot lane, in fact. So we can kind of look out for that. And as far as the entire champion pool is concerned, I actually think you should just hard ban top lane. In fact, if you're Immortals, just ban Gnar, ban Renekton, and you should be good as Revenge. Or, you just have Revenge get a pick like, he could pick like Gwen, for instance, for, the 1v1 and whatnot. Or he could even get Renekton himself. And so really, or on top of that, he could just pick his signature Jace pick. But not sure if IMT can play around that very well. Maybe they can. But I think overall, Immortals just has a more flexible champion pool, especially with Xerxes as well too. Instead of Dardoch before in Dignitas, then I would say maybe now there's some debate there. But against Acadian, no, I don't think Acadian has as flexible of a champion pool or as of a playstyle as well too than Xerxes. So I think you hands down go towards champion pool advantage being Immortals, in fact. And on top of that, as just far as like team play is concerned, I don't think Dignitas actually look that cohesive. They haven't been that cohesive basically all year without Dardoch, in fact. So once that entire piece was dropped, now they don't have a singular voice. It's very clear that they don't really have someone commanding the entire team. And so that's why you get a floundering Dignitas, as weeks go on by. So really, I think this game is probably going to go a 3-1 in favor of Immortals. But I think it's going to be a little bit of a fiesta in, at least like 3 of the games, in fact. And I do think clearly that Immortals are the better team, in fact. But this is just going to be a fun little series. Like, don't take it seriously. This is not representative of North America, obviously, because, we have this huge fucking lower bracket. We have 8 teams in total in playoffs. So we're obviously going to get a pretty shit series in one of them. So I would say take this as the shit series. Just say, hey, okay, I want to look at some pretty colors. I want to see some fun stuff, and I want to see some dumb plays. And I think it's going to be kind of cool in that regard. So just take it for what it is.